dinners, and so it's going to be great to get to know you on a cruise through Europe. This is just fantastic. So Liz and Maggie, they are our tour guides, and they're going to tell us all about the trip.
Thank you, Casey.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Maggie, and my mom, Liz, and I are a two-woman team of Fly Lansing Travel, and we're joined tonight with Garrett from Emerald River Cruises, and I apologize for all of the technical difficulties. We were hoping to have him on this beautiful TV, but we are recording this, so anything that you miss or don't hear, I'm going to email you later today, so don't panic if you don't hear everything. But yeah, we'll get started and tell you a little bit about this trip, and we'll go from there. Can you hear us okay?
I'm gonna get
Right.
you to the presentation deck. So can you see it?
Yeah.
I said he could be a newscaster. He has that nice television voice. Did you catch that?
I did. Thank you.
So I'll let my mom introduce herself because she's been in the business a very long time and can tell you a bit about that.
I have. I actually was graduated college thinking I'd do state and local government political science degree, and did it for a few years and said, yuck, way back when. Not even now. But my girlfriends and I decided to open a travel agency in 1984. And it just kind of grew into it. And I had a freestanding agency for 25 years in Grand Ledge, Michigan, and then decided to close it in 2008, and everybody was moving on, and was approached by the Lansing airport to come work for them and open an agency there. And my boss said, will you open an agency? I said, I've just closed the corporation. No. And he said, well, if I open it, will you run it? So it turned into, yes, I opened an agency and spent 10 years in Lansing airport until 2020. And Jeff and I moved up here to Elk Rapids right about that time and decided what I was going to do, I could do from home. And Maggie was ready to gear up and start really getting back in the business. She had started cleaning my agency when she was young and traveling everywhere when she was young. And in high school, she'd answer the phones. Back in the day, remember when you bought a ticket and you had terms and conditions in a ticket? She put those together. And then in college, she came back and worked because she went to Michigan State. She'd work on it. So we've really worked together. Well, you've been in the business at least 20 years already.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun journey to do with my daughter, and we really do well together. We think together. We cover each other well. I do things differently than she does, and I think it brings a different set of goals or tools to the table. So
yeah, so I kind of did the same thing. I went to Michigan State and got a degree in international relations and German, which comes into play here. I'm really excited about this trip because it's going to a lot of places I studied in when I was studying German, and they're lesser known places in Germany. So I just moved back to Elk Rapids after living in Ireland for about 10 and a half years. So I'm just kind of getting settled here. But I've been doing this remotely for quite a while. And Mom and I have been doing quite a few groups together. We started kind of in the COVID recovery. We've done another river cruise. We've done Ireland. We were in Italy. Backers have joined us on a couple groups. So it's kind of a fun thing we try to do a couple times a year. And it's great when people aren't necessarily comfortable traveling on their own, or maybe just want to hang out and meet some new people. And we're not kind of a hold your hand kind of group, but we kind of get you there and have a good time. And I think it's gone really well. So we're excited about this one. I'm particularly excited to go back to some of these German towns that I haven't been to in quite a while. And yeah, so with that, I'm going to hand things over to Garrett. And like I said, if you can't hear everything he's saying, I'm going to send you the recording of this later and you'll catch everything. But he'll give you a good overview of this particular trip and what to expect from Emerald Cruises.
Thanks, Maggie and Liz. I hope everyone can hear me. I will try to speak very loud. How is my volume?
Yeah, good.
You okay up there? Okay.
All right, fantastic. So, as Maggie and Liz said, I am the representative for my company, which is Scenic Group. And Scenic Group is made up of two different brands. We have our Scenic Luxury Cruises and Tours and Emerald Cruises. And as you can see in this four quadrants here, we've got Emerald River, Scenic River, and then two ocean products for both brands. But today we're going to really just focus on our Emerald Cruises River, which is our premium luxury brand. So we are going to be sailing on this beautiful Luna Starship. She is 180 passengers in total. So it's about 90 staterooms. There is, from here, you can see the lower deck. You have the second deck is where the reception area is. You have the third deck, which is where what we call our diamond deck, which is our, um, our higher level of rooms. And then you have your sun deck. And we're going to go into a little bit more of the hardware and the ship itself later in the presentation. But we love to talk about ourselves and the accolades that we have won. Let me go back. My slides are moving too quickly for me. We've won small ship. It's still moving. I'm sorry. Um, Small ship, luxury ship, river ships, cruise line, value, you name it, we've won awards. And we win them because of our amazing ships, the design. They are innovative. You're going to see this incredible pool that in the evening turns into a cinema. And this has a retractable roof, has three walls of glass floor to ceiling. It is heated. It is game changing, and it is quite special. This having this option of having this incredible infinity style pool on the aft of our ship. In total, we have 8 ships in the European fleet, and they're all called our starships. We also have one in Southeast Asia. They dock in the center of town, cities, takes you right into the heart of the action. As I mentioned, this is small ship river. Maximum is 180 guests on board. That innovative pool, which is incredible, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then at night, it turns into a cinema. It's incredible. And then some of our other innovative ideas is the suites in the staterooms where we have our all-weather indoor-outdoor balcony systems, which means is that your balcony is built inside of your guest room, so you don't lose any of that square footage of having a balcony outside. With a touch of a button, if you see in this picture here, the top half of that window drops below the bottom half, and you have your all-weather indoor-outdoor balcony. It is also another game changer on the rivers. We have Horizons Bar and Lounge, where you'll have your local entertainment. We'll also be serving great wines and beers and whiskeys. All of our ships have gyms and wellness areas. Our main restaurant, which we call Reflections, is where you'll sit and have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. During lunch and dinner, we do include beer and wine. And another exceptional value with Emerald Cruises is all of your gratuities are included. So again, incredible award-winning European starship with the pool in the aft of the ship, with that turns into a cinema. You've got state-of-the-art balconies, all your meals, beer and wine at lunch and dinner, all your gratuities, Wi-Fi. You're going to get excursions every day, and your airport transfers are also included with an Emerald cruise. I love to share this. This is us versus them comparison chart. Up to 180 versus our competition has up to 196. That makes a big deal. Crew to guest ratio, I think, is one of the best. And that just shows the amount of service that you're going to receive. We have 3.46 crew to 1 guest, where our competition, the average is 4.31 to 1, almost 1 extra staff on our boats versus our competition. The only ship with that indoor retractable pool that turns into a cinema. We're one of the only ships that has a fitness center and a spa area on any of the rivers in Europe. Your airport transfers included spa. We have one, but not included. So that would be something additional. And then at least 1 excursion at each port you're going to have included. Here's a great shot of our top deck. And then you have our Reflections restaurant. As I mentioned, this is where you'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also have a terrace. This is great, maybe having a coffee or a light bite. We also will have a late risers breakfast in our lounge, and you can take that out into the terrace. There was the pool again. And then we have, as I mentioned, we're very wellness focused. So we'll have someone organizing Pilates, yoga, aerobics on our ship, stretching. You have the gym, you have the wellness area for those who want maybe a spa treatment before they head out on their tours or when there's some downtime. You have this incredible panorama balcony suite. This is the majority of our inventory in the suites or cabins. This start at 170 square feet. And as I mentioned, floor to ceiling windows here. With a touch of a button, that top half of that window drops down to the bottom, creating your all-weather indoor-outdoor balcony. And then on our onshore experiences, as I mentioned, they are included, and we have three different types of them. We have Emerald Plus, Discover More, and Emerald Active programs. So the Emerald Plus is an immersive way of where we bring locals to you for an experience, and those are included. Our Emerald Actives are for those who are seeking more of that active experience, and we use our e-bikes that we have on all of our ship that we use, and we'll have guides that will take you out and do a similar tour that maybe you would do on a walking tour, but we would use our e-bikes. We also will organize with our activity directors hikes, like in when we're in, and not an example for this cruise, but when we're in Budapest, we have a great hike up to Buda Hill, and that is something we consider our Emerald Active. And then Discover More. And we're going to talk about this when we go into our day-by-day itinerary. Discover Mores are our addition for an additional cost. They are more elevated tours. They never overlap over the included excursions, so you never have to worry about missing an included excursions. These are maybe something that will be after those included in the afternoon or the morning when there is not something already planned. So you have the option of elevating and adding maybe an extra tour or two in your journey with us through our Discover More program. So Emerald Plus, again, these are extra special excursions, events. Our Emerald Active, we're using our e-bikes. We'll have guided tours and hikes through vineyards and different towns and villages. And then our Discover Moors, where they're again available for our guests for an additional cost. Here's a great little shot of where we sail for all of our rivers before we get into our itinerary. As I mentioned, we do sail in Europe as well in Southeast Asia. If this would stay on here, I'm sorry. So we cover the Douro, the Rhone, Saône, and then from Amsterdam all the way down to Bucharest, which is the Rhine, Main, Danube, and the Moselle. And let's begin with our itinerary, and it's going right to Koblenz. And this, actually, sorry, my itinerary flip-flopped. We will be starting in your journey in Zurich. So this is where you will fly into. We will then transfer you to Basel, and that is where you'll pick up our Emerald Luna, which is our star ship. And on this journey, you will be going through 4 countries: Switzerland, France, Germany, the Netherlands. You will be touching at least 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites: the old town of Strasbourg in France, the upper middle Rhine Valley, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, is absolutely incredible part of the river that you will sail through, and you'll be witnessing over 40 castles. It is just unbelievable, that part of the Rhine. And then you have the Cologne Cathedral in Germany. That is one of the tallest and most stunning Gothic cathedrals in Europe. So those are some of the highlights that you're going to have on this tour. So from Zurich to Basel, and then your first stop is it's not going to be Koblenz. I don't know where that came from, but let's first talk about some wine, since you guys are drinking some wine right now. I hope you're ready to sip on some of the region's wine of the Rhine, and you'll have, again, wine from Germany, France, Switzerland. And in Germany, you'll be drinking some of the most renowned, famous, widely produced Riesling in this region, as well as the Sylvaner, the Dornfelder. And then when you get to France, in the Alsace Riesling region, you'll have this dry and mineral-driven, distinct and it's a little sweeter than the German Riesling. So you're going to get a nice balance of your dry Rieslings in Germany to your sweeter Rieslings in France. And this region actually is starting to grow as everywhere is. The weather is changing. So they are getting grapes that are focused now on more of the reds too. So you're going to find some Pinot Noirs now in this region, which is very new to this area. So, day one, you are going again, Zurich to Basel. So, welcome to Switzerland. You'll be greeted at the airport by our Emerald representative, and they will transfer you to your Starship in Basel. This evening, when you're in Basel, you'll just enjoy a great dinner on board the ship. And then on day two, you'll arrive in the tale of two cities. It's divided by the Rhine, the Breisach of Germany, or the Neuf Breisach of France. So one side of the river will be France, the other side will be Germany. And during this, you'll be guided to these two gems of the Rhine, and you'll pass through the main sites, one of which will be a UNESCO Heritage Site. And it's a great intro starting point for our cruise up the Rhine. And then on day three, you're going to do Kiel to Strasbourg. So we will be docked on the Kiel side in Germany. So you have the option of experiencing some Kiel, but we will put you on a motor coach and we'll take you into Strasbourg, which you're going to love. So this is your first experience going to be, or second experience for France. And a guide will teach you about the city's history during insightful tours, passing through cobbled squares. This is a boutique, charming city, also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the area unmatched beauty, picturesque canal systems. It's going to be definitely a highlight of your tour, Strasbourg. And then when you come back from Strasbourg, you'll be on the Kiel side, and you'll have some time before we sail off from Kiel to experience some of the town on your own. Maybe pick up one of our e-bikes and take a ride, or just enjoy a gentle walk on your own through the city of Kiel. And then on day four, you'll be heading to Lustvenwagen to Svetzingen. So don't hold me to these pronunciations. Maggie's gonna have to help me with the German here. When we are here, you'll do the palace, which is famous for its beauty and harmony of its gardens. And then, so this will be a tour that we will take you from a motor coach to here on this day. And and alternatively, you can also embark on a hike through the beautiful vineyards of the town of Bad Dürkheim. And this is where you'll have your first wine experience tasting. So those who want to you have the option of doing the palace, or you can do the Bad Dürkheim hike with the palace and gardens and do some wine tasting there as well. And then we're off to Koblenz. This is actually one of my favorite stops. It is a small little town. You wouldn't normally go here unless you're on a river cruise like this. It is a fairy tale, picturesque little town. Beautiful vineyards here. I definitely recommend making sure that you go through the town, maybe even grab a local bottle of their Riesling here, bring it back on board the ship. You know what's great? Our team would be happy to open that bottle for you in the lounge, or if you wanted to take it back into your sanctuary and enjoy it on your balcony. This was a must for me. Definitely, I did bring back a few bottles of Koblenz to back to the ship because this was some really good Riesling. If you like Riesling, of course. So you'll have a great tour here. You will go up to this incredible statue, and I wish I had a picture of what it looked like when I was there. You couldn't barely see it. It was so foggy. It was amazing. But we have a walking tour of Koblenz, or you have the option here to discover more. So this is actually either or. You don't have the option of doing both. You do have a motor coach that would take you to the Moselle Valley and the Cochem Castle. Excuse me. And there you'll also have the option for some wine tasting. And then day 6, this is the largest city in Germany, Cologne. It's actually the most visited city in Germany as well. It's famous for its Roman and this incredible cathedral that you see in the background there. So this will have an included tour of this city, guided of the old town, and you'll visit the botanical gardens of Cologne. that'll be included here on this stop. And then finally, you're going to be in Amsterdam and get to experience one of the highlights of this cruise. And this is why what you want to go on this cruise, not just for the wine, but you want to see the tulips in bloom during the season. This is going to be amazing. You'll go to the Keukenhof Gardens. There are more than 800 varieties of these spring flowers, these tulips. It is going to be obviously one of the highlights of your experience. And then that night, you actually will be in Amsterdam. So you'll arrive in Amsterdam in the morning. You'll on a motor coach out to the Keukenhof Gardens. You'll come back. You'll be in Amsterdam, which means then you have the option of going in to Amsterdam on your own at your own leisure and do some sightseeing on your own, and then come back, have dinner on the ship. And since we are again overnighting in Amsterdam on the ship, hey, why not check out Amsterdam at night after dinner, which will be a nice little short walk from the ship. So that is your 8-day itinerary of the Rhine and the tulips. It's going to be magical. It is one of the most popular itineraries that we have. That and the Danube are the two most popular rivers to sail in Europe. If you haven't sailed before on a river cruise, it is just simple. And that might sound simple to say. It is, everything is planned for you. You get onto the ship, you unpack once, and you're on this floating luxury hotel that just takes you from city to town to village every day. All your meals are included. You've got incredible regional food, wines, drinks that you're going to be served. You're going to be introduced to locals. We'll have an Emerald Plus experience on this cruise where we'll bring on a folklore band that will play for you in the evenings after dinner. It is just going to be a wonderful experience. I think Maggie and Liz picked a great cruise to choose to start with. And then based on how many, we're very excited that Shady Lanes will be a partner of this as well. And there will be some surprise and delights with having Shady Lane be sailing with you guys. We're hoping to help them get some of their own wines onto the ship, and we'll have some specialty events on the ship with your winery. So we're very excited about that. Any questions for the room, for me or for Maggie or for Liz?
One question I had was, are pretty much all of the stops you have, you mentioned, I think at one of them specifically, you have some free time to roam, and if you do the excursions, you still have sort of time to self-navigate the towns and on your own?
Did you hear that, Garrett? Is there free time in each of the ports to discover on your own after the tours?
Yes, absolutely. You always have some time on your own. You'll be given a time to be back on the ship. It's all aboard at a certain time, so make sure you're there. And that will be posted before you head out. It'll be reminded when you walk out. So yes, there's always opportunities at each stop to just go and explore on your own.
And if you don't want to, none of the tours call to you that day and you want to just take it easy, that's an option too. Yeah, everything is just kind of at your. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I've never been on a cruise, been very leery about going on a cruise. How's the safety record?
Oh, can you speak to the safety record of Emerald?
Oh, it is. What's really beautiful about sailing in Europe too is it is a very safe place. One, two, you're in rivers. This is not big oceans, right? So you're not going to deal with any type of currents or anything like that. And I honestly, I don't really get that question because it is one of the most popular ways of traveling today in Europe. It is just there hasn't been a slowdown in river cruising since they started river cruising in the early 2000s. It is only just expanded. Just to give you some numbers around that, 1.9 million people can sail in a particular year. That's how much inventory all of the cruise ships have in Europe. 1.7 million people traveled last year. So there's very little room left up for anybody to even go. 90+% occupancy, which is incredible numbers. It is only growing. It's only expanding. There's more cruise lines coming. We're adding a brand new ship next year. So safety is not really a concern for people. And I'm pretty confident you'll find that experience as well.
If you're worried about movement on the ship, you feel very little movement on a river cruise. The most that I felt when we were cruising on the rivers were going through locks. You go into the lock, stop, go up or down. So that's the most movement that you would feel if that's an issue for you. Yeah.
It's very short.
Yeah.
And usually it cruises at night.
I'm wondering if I could like swim from side
Oh,
to side.
you
I-
could.
I-
You could, and there are life vests, of
Okay.
course, on board, and you'll go through a muster. Yeah, not that anyone is going to need any such thing, but yeah, you could.
Okay.
Another interesting thing about
Yeah.
back in the day when I first started, and people started going to Europe. Remember, it wasn't everybody going to Europe, it was the people who really had a pretty sizable income to be able to do that. And we put them on tour companies, which are still around today, the Trafalgars, the Globus, the Coettes, and they're wonderful. It's wonderful. But you were in a hotel, you pack up at night, have your bag out at 7 in the morning, have breakfast, get on the bus, and it's like one repetitive thing. You saw wonderful things, but when you got to be day five, you're thinking, I'm exhausted. I don't know where my hotel room is. This simplifies that you're going to be 3 floors, go down for dinner, you go into whatever entertainment you want to see, and you go back up to your room. And and yet we're seeing lots on the ground
Without having
but it
to on
simplifies
yeah.
the nights. So yeah.
Power plant on board?
Power in terms of Wi-Fi.
No, engine.
Oh, how about the engines on board? And the power of the ship? I couldn't answer this one.
2 engine.
2 engines, one. Is it?
Good question. I think there's 2 engines.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with the engine or the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So how does lunch, I understand how breakfast and dinner would work into a daily itinerary. How does lunch work into that?
Okay. Can you
That's good.
explain how lunch works into the daily itinerary?
Good one.
Yeah. So it does vary range. It could be like 11:30 seating, it could be a 12:30 seating. So there's one seating and it's open to where you walk into our dining room and we'll have tables for set up for 2, for 4, for 8. We'll have round tables. And then so it is communal. But when you have a group like this too, you typically will gravitate to each other. And you always find a seat for to sit together. Or if you don't want to sit together, you can go find those 2 tops, and you and your partner can just enjoy maybe a quiet lunch, or if this is for breakfast or dinner. So there's those. It's communal. It's open seating. There are, and we obviously we will figure the excursions around the mealtime so that you're back. If we are traveling over a mealtime. But you won't have any of those situations on this cruise. We then typically would include a lunch off the ship.
Will you speak to the fact that in the afternoon, don't you have like an afternoon, for lack of a better word, tea, where you'd have snacks and whatnot, maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock? Do you do that?
Yeah, so we have one of the most amazing machines, and as well as incredible selections of tea that are available in our lounge for our guests 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This coffee machine is the hardest working thing on the ship. It makes regular coffee, cappuccinos, espressos, lattes, you name it. And then again, in that same area, you'll also find up to 30 different types of tea that you can steam yourself. And then there also you'll have always some sort of light snack bites. And then during before dinner, there may be some evenings where we will have, with our Emerald Plus, there could be a wine cheese tastings. There could be some small little bites that we will put back in and just some canopies for us to just a light bite on before you get to dinner. Trust me, you're not going to find a time that you're going to really want more food, though. You're going to be having 3, 4, 5 course meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's going to be amazing food too. We have one of the we have our culinary program was designed by a Michelin star chef. He was land-based for 20 years and is now taken his Michelin star quality food from land onto our ships. And it's unbelievable. I can promise you that you're going to walk away with a new sense of a culinary experience after sailing on Emerald. And with our meals as well, too, if you're not the chef's prepared menu that he has every evening, which will be something regionalized, will be paired with something that our maitre d' will have. We also have we have what we call our alternative menu, which always has just like a salmon, a chicken, a steak, or even a cheeseburger, just for those who maybe are not into the fine dining for 7 days in a row and just maybe need a break and get a nice good old cheeseburger. That's an option for you.
Can you describe a little bit of the difference between the different staterooms? You talked about the balcony one, but I know it looked like there were 3 different options.
Yes, there are basically 3. So Emerald has your, let's say, inside cabin. It doesn't have the balcony. It just has a long window, and that is on our lower deck. And then on our 2 middle decks, which is our Vista and Horizon decks, or yeah, the Vista and Horizon deck, the majority, those are all balconies. And they have, based on location, there could be different names for them. For example, you have just your Emerald Panorama balcony. Then you have your Emerald Panorama balcony suite. Then we have a grand balcony suite, and then our 1-bedroom owner's suite. They all pretty much are very similar inside the balcony. So from the grand balcony all the way down to the standard Emerald, it's 210 to 180. And 180 is pretty generous size room on a cruise in general. So it's a good size room. And based on location, that does change the price once you're in the middle of the ship. And there really is no bad location. There's just preferred locations to be maybe closer to the center, and not for any reason of currents or motion or anything. You're closer to everything. You're closer to the restaurant. You're closer to the lounge. You're closer to exiting. So those are more of the sought after type of rooms. And then the further you go back into the ship, which is not a bad place to be, because if you're near that pool, it's incredible to be close to there. Put on your robe, go head back there, go for a dip before maybe your tour, maybe when you get back from your tour, grab a coffee, have a sip in there in the morning. It's a great spot to enjoy, especially when you're sailing. It's absolutely magical. You'd be sailing on the Rhine and imagine be swimming in this infinity style pool, just having panoramic views on all sides as you're sailing down. It's pretty special.
Will the pool be open in April? Is it outdoor or is it covered in the?
It's indoor and it's got a retractable roof, which we probably won't be opening in April. And it's heated and it's 18 by 15. So it's a quite big indoor style pool.
It's all the sailing going to be done at night.
Did you catch it? Is all the sailing done at nighttime?
No, there will be some. If you're not sailing at night, you're either sailing. You'll be finishing your sailing in the morning while you're still having breakfast, There will be maybe times where you'll sail in the evening after you finish your day tours and everything. You'll get back onto the ship, and the ship will start sailing during dinner. I actually prefer, I think those are some of the best times to sail while you're during a meal. You don't typically will sail during the afternoon on this itinerary. Um, but you may have what they call in Europe lie-in days. So there will be sometimes where you'll get into the port a little later in the morning, which means, take it easy. They'll even have a later start breakfast that day, so that you can just, enjoy. You don't have to rush. And so they think of everything.
There's no 7:30 AM. Get up and get out of your room, because we as I'm sure all of the cruise companies that do Emerald wants you to enjoy it, not feel like you have to rush back to your room because you've got to get up and run first thing in the morning. So it gives you that opportunity, because part of what I like to sell is immersing yourself in everything. So you don't want to run the whole time. We want to take in what we want and hold on to it. Just a little anyway.
Have they ever had to redirect because of the river levels? I know several years ago there was.
That was on the Danube.
Yeah, redirecting due to water levels.
It happens. Unfortunately, we don't control Mother Nature. So there are situations when the river could be too high, could be too low. We typically don't see that April. Lately, it's been mostly June and September when we started to see some of those issues. When it does happen, I promise you, our number one goal is for our ship to sail. It's not there just to dock and be a floating hotel at a particular point. But that does happen sometimes. So if that does happen, we try to get to a point where we are where it's easy for our ship to dock and still use that as a hotel. And then so that we will then just motor coach you to different areas. And all cruising itineraries are a suggestion that we are promoting. Unfortunately, no cruise line can ever actually guarantee the itinerary. Again, I've sailed 4 times. I've had some water issues. I've never had where we didn't see a particular stop. So again, we don't want that to happen because it's not good for us. It's not good for you. So our goal is to make sure that we are cruising to what we're advertising. But I'll tell you, it's not slowing down, people. Again, as Liz was saying, this is such an incredible way of now traveling compared to the days of all motor coach traveling. And to be able to just unpack once and go, it just makes your life so much easier. And then having your meals planned for you, your excursions planned for you, having alternative options to add on to your experience on the cruise. Again, everything has been taken care of and thought of for you to have an exceptional cruise.
I suppose I should ask you a question, because I know that a lot of times you want people to go into Zurich, but I personally like to go right into Basel. And if we did choose to do that and come into Basel, the area where the cruise port is relatively close. Would the transfers cover us with that?
Yeah, we can do the transfer from Basel if you decide to fly directly in.
Smaller city, a little different.
We just find more people fly into Zurich. That's how we advertise it. But if you can get to Basel, we will absolutely organize a transfer for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And like I said, this is going to be, it is being recorded, and I will share this. So for anyone who wants to maybe rewatch it, or please make sure you send it and share it with your family and friends, and let's get a nice big group on this cruise. And I promise you're not gonna regret it. It's gonna be amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, bye.
Bye.